All right, welcome on in. It is Socratic Sunday. I'm excited. I did not get a chance to do this, I think last week. And so I am very excited to be back, catch up with some news, because I generally am someone who does pretty well keeping up with the news. But to be perfectly honest, I'm working 52 to 55 hours a week right now, and streaming, and and have the like medical stuff like recently the ketamine, so I have not been keeping track of pretty much anything. So we're gonna go to my usual go-to ground news, and see what it looks like. We have many options for topic, and let me actually open the chat in such a way that I can see it while I'm on the other screen. Give me just a second, and I will be good to go. Oh, I know I usually do coffee, but tonight I am fortunate enough to have uh, hot, or it's not hot, but it formerly hot apple cider with some Fireball whiskey in it. So I will be doing that. And let me actually pour off stream just because I know Twitch is, we'll say twitchy about alcohol on stream. Not sponsored by Fireball, by the way. It's just mixed as well. Just a second. Be right back. Should have done this poor stream. That's my bad. Okay. I do not know how long the stream's gonna go tonight. That is fucking good. I do not know how long the stream's gonna go tonight because, frankly, I am extremely tired. Uh, Worked an 8 hour shift Thursday, which is totally fine and normal, and then two 14s back to back Friday, Saturday, and then another 8 today. And as it turns out, I ain't 18 anymore. I can't just shrug that shit off. So I am more than a little tired. All of that said, I am excited to be here, potentially discussing things with people, otherwise yapping into the void, one of the two for sure. God, it's very important to keep up with what's going on with Trump's administration, but it is fucking depressing every time I do this. Rubio promised to betray U.S. informants to get Trump's El Salvador prison deal. Wish I could say I was shocked. Trump's new envoy to Iraq is a MAGA influencer who ran a chain of marijuana shops. Hopefully he's dumb enough to go to Iraq with marijuana on him, because that will end hilariously. Secret Service discovers hunting stand with direct line of sight to Trump's Air Force One exit in Florida. I mean, it is Florida. Not 100% guarantee that that was related. Uh, Ooh, authorities investigate death of a rail conductor who was struck by a train in Montana. That, not 100%, but statistically, those are suicides. Let's see. AP News has it. Let's see. Authorities investigating the death of a rail conductor hit by a passing train in Montana. 9:48 a.m. in Columbus, town of about 2,000 people, southwest of Billings. Emergency response officials weren't sure what happened other than the individual was between two trains. One train barked on the track, the other was moving on another track, and the moving one struck him somehow. Okay. I'm still saying statistically probable that that's a suicide, but it's entirely possible, I suppose, that he was like wearing headphones and didn't hear and feel the train coming. As always, do you feel bad for the family, regardless of whether that was the intent or not? Former MLB player Jesus Montero dies 2 weeks after motorcycle crash. That is sad, but also there is a reason that medical professionals call motorcycles donor cycles, because organ donors are often people who crash their motorcycles. Personally, I have no interest in going that fast in anything without a roll cage. Limp Bizkit founding bassist Sam Rivers dies at 48? From, cause of death not disclosed by the band. That sucks. Without further information, I can only go, that sucks. I really wish there was anything else. God, there is so many sports things, and I do not care. All right. How's about the environment? I'm sure everything's going fine in that. Alerts for use of AI by minors. Yeah, but I'm sure that the tool that gives the alert is also AI. So, what are we doing? Suspected, quote, space debris, unquote, found after fiery landing near Outback, Washington mine site. Huh. Going through hostile Australian cricketing experience shaped me as a cricketer. As a person, according to Coley. I don't know who that is. Experts urge governments to prioritize clean environment over vaccination. That's experts where? Okay. During the National Conference on Environment and Health, organized by Living Sciences Foundation at the University of Ilesa, Osun State. I don't know the last part of that. University of Ilesa. Ilesa, Nigeria. Okay. That's, that was what I was trying to get to. Also, University of Ilesa denies claims of unpaid staff. I have questions about their priorities. Also, can we not prioritize clean environment and vaccination? We really could be doing better, you know? Something from space may have just struck a United Airlines flight over Utah. I mean, literally astronomically improbable, but you throw enough rocks through space, it wouldn't shock me. Why don't they want transportation? People protest against motorists on nature conservation. In Prague. Okay. Czech Republic. Or Czechia now. They changed that shit like around the last Olympics, and I'm still getting used to it. Uh, Researchers say some other critter than rats created Chicago's sidewalk rat hole. I don't know what that's referencing. Also, I'm aware I'm oldish for the internet, but I have been at station 6 at work all week, and I am a 30-year-old man with a TikTok account, and people have been going 6-7 at me all week and kind of wobbling their arms. I I don't know. I have no idea what is being referenced. So it's like kids from like 4 to a little under 20 probably, like, and then clearly some like middle-aged people who are trying to be cool. I I was told it was related to some sort of murder that the murderer got off scot-free. I but I have not fact checked that in any way. So, EU wants to train Ukrainian military directly on the territory of Ukraine. Well, it is politically easier to do that, especially because accidents happen during military training, and if those accidents happen in a war zone, they're a hell of a lot easier to explain. Germany to recall ambassador to Georgia as relations fray. Uh, Turkish Cypriots vote in an election seen as a choice on deeper Turkey ties or closer EU relations. I suspect that it's going to go a worse direction, but Budapest is the wrong place for Trump to meet Putin regarding Ukraine, according to whom? I mean, nobody should be meeting with Putin, but that's, I recognize, not wholly uh, re- realistic. Budget 2026, APIS will be removed for foreign students outside the European Union and non-students. I don't know what APIS is. French government has announced the end of individualized housing aid for foreign students from countries outside of the EU. Okay, cool. Thank you. What about international? Do we have any international news? Trump calls Colombia's Petro an, quote, illegal drug dealer, end quote, and announces an end to U.S. aid to the country. Even if that were true, see, the problem is that Trump said it, and therefore I assume that it's false. As far as I can tell, the man has said one true thing in the last 10 years, and that was smart people don't like me. Flights diverted from Palma de Mallorca. I know it's Mallorca, but every time I read it, I have to struggle not to say the L. Uh, Airport after drone spotted. Scandal in the British royal family. London police investigate whether Prince Andrew tried to discredit his accuser. Yeah, of course he fucking did. That was clear to everyone who was watching that shit happen. Inter-American Press Society announces growing censorship in the U.S. No shit. Fascists are really touchy about anything that goes against the party line. Nigerian modern art show, first of its kind in the UK. Man cracks open a beer after work, but he was dead the next minute. Okay. Aiden Segala was just 21 when he died in his sister's arms, and his death would ultimately unravel a massive drug smuggling ring with networks in India, US, and Canada. So the beer was spiked with something that was not supposed to be in there, was what I got out of that. Uh, Oscar Wilde gets his library card back 125 years after his death. Kind of feels superfluous, but alright. No King's protest comes to New Mexico. Nice. Snoop Dogg drops new children's song "Love Is Love" after criticism over LGBTQ plus comments. All right, cool. Uh, Sumud flotilla activists recount harrowing experiences in Israeli dungeons. That's not at all surprising. Uh, Lily Wachowski joins Victoria's Tilda Film Festival as a patron. For those who don't know, Lily Wachowski was one of the two directors of the Matrix trilogy. And I assume the newest Matrix movie, but I haven't seen that and I don't know. Ohio pastor who protested LGBTQ book at school fair accused of child rape and sexual battery. It's always the ones you suspect the most. Trans man trying to conceive a baby wins appeal over gender recognition in the UK. Okay, well, it was certainly not a guarantee in the UK, so. Offbeat. Anything fun? Louvre closes after thieves rob crown jewels in 7-minute heist. When do I get to see this movie? Raiders entered via the Seine-facing facade where renovation work is underway, using an outside lift and freight elevator to access the Galerie d'Apollo. I think it's the Apollo Gallery, but French is not a language I took. Le Parisien and other outlets reported that thieves stole 9 pieces from Napoleon and the Empress's jewelry collection and fled on moto scooters. When do I get to see this movie? Officials reported there were no injuries and said it remained unclear exactly what had been stolen as detectives coordinate with Louvre staff on the investigation. The museum's scale, housing more than 33,000 works and drawing up to 30,000 visitors a day, means security faces ongoing challenges, especially given the 1911 Mona Lisa theft. Alright. See, that was fun. I'm glad to finally get some news that's enjoyable. Uh, Twin who allegedly urged sister to take fall for deadly Amish buggy crash is jailed for 4 years. Wild. Police in Derbyshire solve mystery of crocodile found in canal. I'm assuming someone put it there. Statistically, my guess would be someone wanted an exotic pet and then the fucker got big and it was a problem. So they tried to get rid of it and made it everyone else's problem. 8-year-old shows his love for the Blue Jays with custom prosthetic eye. Oh. Honestly, it's kind of cool. It's, because I don't have it up on the screen. Like the white of the eye has the threads like a baseball, and the center is like a gold color. And then when the eye is out, it's got like a Blue Jays symbol on it, but it's actually pretty cool. Let's see. Offbeat. Can we please keep this fun? ICE arrests police officer, says he was in the U.S. illegally. I feel like, you know, King Kong versus Godzilla, let them fight. Fuck it. I don't care. Can Ozempic help you cut back on alcohol? Researchers think so. Yeah, that's actually one of the really interesting things with semaglutide and some of the GLP-1, like the various uh, Ozempic alikes, is not actually just the weight loss thing, but the fact that it really looks like it's a way to sort of cut down on addictions, be that like alcohol, nicotine. There's been a lot of study into that, but it's new enough that there aren't like longitudinal studies on it. I will be really interested to see where that goes once all of the various GLP-1 supplements go on the market. I think in 2026, like right at the beginning of 2026, that patent expires. So it'll be well, basically what it means is a whole bunch more people are going to get access to it, which means we'll find out the potential good side effects and the potential bad side effects, because the larger a uh, group you have to study, the more accurate your results are going to be. So very likely that we will learn a lot of new things over the next year with that. Body cam footage shows alleged ICE officer pulled over for drunk driving, racially profiling arresting officer. One, no shit. Two, it's always the ones you most suspect. Fresh and Fit host Myron Gaines defends leaked GOP anti-Semitic group chat. Yeah, we like Hitler. Obviously, it's a Nazi podcast. I don't, like, yeah. Indian man fakes his death to see who would attend his funeral. 74-year-old man who wanted to check to see who would grieve his passing faked his death and staged a mock funeral to see who would attend. You know, if I were in a silly, goofy mood at 74, I'm not saying it wouldn't be a little funny. Let's see, politics. This will be depressing. Protest hits Rome over Libya migrant deal after boat wreck. Renewed fighting with Gaza ceasefire. Israel briefly halts aid. I'm shocked. Rubio promised to. Yeah, we saw that. Secret Service discovers. Yep, I saw that. Former French President Sarkozy prepares for prison, says he's not afraid. I'm sure he's going to whatever the French equivalent of Club Med is, but yeah. Anything with space. I would love to hear something about space, because it's nice occasionally to remember that all of these problems are tiny and insignificant in the face of the size of the universe. And 100 years from now, probably significantly sooner than 100 years from now, that shit ain't gonna be my problem anymore. How to use a banana to find Comet Lemon. What? Pakistan uses China's soil to launch the country's first hyperspectral satellite HS-1 into space. Interesting. And the Chinese apparently launched two more satellites of their own. Um, do, 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 do. How we sharpen the James Webb Telescope's vision from 1 million kilometers away, presumably like radio waves. Best guess. Uh, Sanchez defends to European Union socialists a common minimum wage for all countries of the European Union. I'm really unclear as to why that's under space. Like, don't get me wrong, I'm down with the whole socialism thing, but Okay, that is probably as much of ground news as I'm gonna do. Let's, I guess, glance at Reddit news and then hope that someone hops into the chat with some sort of topic suggestion. Because I admit I am running on fumes here, and I would happily engage back and forth with someone, but I am also not necessarily good to just do a 2 hour podcast off the top of my head. Israel says the transfer of humanitarian aid into Gaza is halted, quote, until further notice. Again, wish I was shocked. Prince Andrew allegedly asked bodyguard to gather information about Virginia Giuffre. Again, wish I was shocked. Uh, da, 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 da. Uh, Priceless jewelry stolen from the Louvre, sure. Yemen's Houthis detained 20 UN staff in latest raid. That's not great. Pakistan and Afghanistan agree to immediate ceasefire after reaching, uh, or after peace talks in Doha. That's good. China accuses U.S. of cyber breaches at National Time Center. It wouldn't shock me if we were actively doing that, but I mean, I guess we stopped blocking Russia's attempts, so might as well be fucking with one superpower, right? Do, 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 do. U.S. airlines to regard X sex markers on passports and input M or F, because they just can't go a day without being fucking assholes. Top comment. Does that mean airports decide who can play women's sports? Nice. Wasn't this the same administration that made everyone legally female? Like right at the beginning with one of the executive orders? I'm pretty sure. God damn. Sorry, it is warm in this room. Let's see. LPG laden tanker on fire off Yemen. LPG. I don't know. Specialized ship designed to transport LPG in bulk across oceans using either fully pressurized, fully refrigerated, or semi-refrigerated, semi-pressurized systems. Oh, LPG, liquefied petroleum gas. Thank you. That's all I needed. Let's see. 11 killed after Israel hits bus in Gaza. Hamas runs civil defense says. Polish court blocks extradition and frees Ukrainians suspected in Nord Stream pipeline blasts. Interesting. Uh, U.S. anti-vax stance to blame for continent-wide surge in measles, say experts. Fucking obviously. More than 20 states sue the EPA over canceled grants for solar power. Good. Uh, Jesus fucking Christ. Yeah. Oh, Jesus. Pennsylvania teen dies from bacterial meningitis. Christ. Yeah, because there's a vaccine for that. Yeah, CDC vaccination's the best way to prevent pneumococcal disease. Recommends pneumococcal vaccination for all children younger than 5 years old, people 5 through 49 with certain risk conditions, adults 50 years or older. Okay. U.S. seized survivors after strike on suspected drug. Oh, that. Don't be started on that shit. Judge denies ex-judge's bid to change name to Judge. Whatever. Who fucking cares? All right. That article exists purely for the headline. Oh. Let's see. Did I have anything saved I wanted to talk about? Oh, I don't think I've talked about it since it happened. But Jane Goodall died. 18 days ago. I may or may not have talked about it, but huge loss. Uh, Apparently she was like out giving talks a couple weeks before she died, so it was fairly sudden. But she was 91, and like, don't get me wrong, much as I loved Steve Irwin, Jane Goodall's. It's one of those things, right, where like fundamentally they were doing different things. Steve Irwin got a lot of children very interested in biology, animal sciences, that kind of thing. And for that, he was incredibly valuable. Jane Goodall gave information to scientists that would otherwise have been unavailable by going and living among primates in the wild for extended periods of time. So both huge contributors to science, both huge losses, but sort of fundamentally different. Just I bring it up because I saw some people comparing the two. Both important for different reasons. Uh, let's see. Anything else? I'm not really seeing much else. Okay. Um, all that said, what's going with people in the chat? Anything fun? Anything that's gonna keep me awake for the next hour and a half? Cause this may wind up being a short stream if no one hops in. I try not to pressure lurkers, but if you are here and interested, it may be time to hop on in and throw a discussion topic out there, because I can do that, but otherwise I'm going to be sitting here just trying to stay conscious. A little bit on me, I suppose, having the alcohol instead of the coffee. Not much alcohol, to be clear. It's just a little bit spiked apple cider. A little bit of cinnamon kick, a little bit of alcohol kick. I dig it. Okay. Let's see. What else did I want to talk about this week? I guess I should at least throw out there, my usual Tuesday stream will not be happening this week. I have a friend who's going to be over, and I'm not going to stream that night. But Monday and Wednesday streams should be at their normal times. I will be back in Cyberpunk tomorrow, and presumably Wednesday. I don't have a clear idea of how long the Phantom Liberty DLC is going to take me, but I'm having a good time with it. Oh God, I'm flagging. If anyone is interested, you are of course always welcome to hop into the Discord call, which will, just because most of the time people will use the chat, but not uncommon that it might be easier, depending on their mic setups, to hop into the Discord call. I apologize. I'm stumbling over my words a little bit, and I wish that I wasn't. Which is awesome too, by the way. Like I don't know how late I'm gonna go tonight. But after I do this, I gotta do like a bunch of laundry and some cleanup and shower and I don't know, probably some other stuff. That is the other problem with working as much as I'm working right now, is like shit around the house is not getting done. Not that it always gets done when I'm not working, but you know, not being physically present does sort of lower the odds that I'm going to like clean shit up or do laundry or I don't know, other maintenance. Dishes, that was the one. That was like, I know there's another thing. Dishes. I'm pretty good at getting them in the dishwasher. It's just a question of how frequently that gets run. Okay. Let's see. Was there anything that I wanted to? Oh, I had a fucking customer this week. So I'm happy to, you know, take or leave this discussion, but as someone who has been in customer service, like in various forms, for 11 years, I have been, like 11 and a half, give or take. I have been faced with a lot of customers who are angry or irate or disappointed or whatever about something or other. I'm actually a fairly good candidate for customer service, primarily because that shit rolls right off me. Like, I don't take it personal. I don't care what people yell at me because I don't care what they think, frankly. I'm perfectly capable of very professionally carrying out whatever I've been told to do. If that's telling them no, that's fine. And if that results in them yelling at me, I don't care. It's fine. They will eventually leave. And be miserable, not in my face. So, most of the time, that shit rolls right off me. I had a customer. Let's see, today's Sunday, so 8 days ago, last Saturday, who has stuck with me. Uh, and I was sitting there doing tickets, like, and I scan barcodes and hand people their wristbands to get in. Pretty simple system, but uh, I got a couple who walked up. Not uncommon. A lot of people come out, and it's an agritourism place, so A lot of people come out, get their, pictures with pumpkins, whatever. Man and woman approach, 25 ish, best guess for the two of them. And I look at her and I say, "Hello, ma'am. How many tickets for you?" She holds up the phone. There are two tickets. I scan two tickets and I hand them two wristbands and they walk away. This was a very normal interaction. 15 seconds later, guy walks back over. I'm like, weird. But sometimes they fuck up their wristbands. They need a new one. They, make it too tight, make it too loose, whatever. Nothing in the guy's hands, though. And I'm like, weird. And he walks up to me and he says, "Hey, man, I just want to let you know when a guy and a lady walk up, it's polite to address the man." And the back of my head is fucking reeling from what he has said to me, while the front of my brain is going, "You're too young for this opinion." Like, if you were 95 and had been born pre-World War II, yeah, it'd still be a shitty opinion. But I'd kind of get the society that you grew up in. I don't, I'm not sure if it was, Andrew Tate or Jordan Peterson, but like, my guess is one of those. But I'm reeling from this, and what I managed to say to the guy was, well, I addressed her because she was holding the phone. And he goes, "No, man, it doesn't have anything to do with the phone." And I said, "Well, actually, it does, because this transaction is me scanning tickets, and the tickets are on the phone. So the phone is the only relevant part of the conversation." He goes, "I just wanted to let you know, man." I said, "Okay." And he walked away. And I was like, what a fucking asshole. And the part of the story, like, I obviously, I was just like blown away by this and hoping that that poor young woman finds someone else. But the part that my sister pointed out to me was he came back alone. Like, he was willing to say this. He was not willing to say it in front of her. And the thing to me, right, like, I'm sitting there going like, all right, I try to be a relatively empathetic guy. So I'm aware that everybody occasionally has thoughts that they're not proud of. And I never would have known if this guy had that thought and moved on with his day. The thing that I judge him incredibly for, like if he'd had the thought, yeah, like, you wouldn't be proud of it, but you move on. He came back. How fucking fragile does your masculinity have to be to not only have the thought, but to return? Like, don't get me wrong, I get some people have like self-confidence issues or self-worth issues, and they try to establish some kind of order to make it better, which is where, again, if you had the thought and moved on with it, no one would know. But he came back. I don't judge him for his thought, I judge him for his actions. And returning to have that conversation is fucked up. Like, if you're out there, young woman who was with him, I hope that you find better. Because, look, I'm not saying every guy's great, but, like, statistically, you're on the lower end of the bell curve there. Fucking A, man. I just... It stuck with me. It really, like, I think about that guy, like, once a day at least, since then. And I don't do that with customer interactions. Like, the interaction occurs, and then they're out of my mind forever. With the exception of, like, regulars at the gun range I work at, where, like, yeah, sure, I know their name and whatever, that's fine. But, like, customer interactions are, like, the transaction, and then out of my mind forever. This guy, man, like, What a piece of shit. I really had trouble getting past that. I don't know. It's not a fun story, but that's kind of my only like major story from work. Oh, you know what the other decent one was? So Saturday night, like 2 days ago. No, fuck, Friday night, right? Jesus, yes, Friday night. You remember the thing where I said I'm a little tired? Yeah, Friday night. I'm out driving the tractor for the nighttime event. Um, and I go and approach the start of the route, which is like 4 minutes into a 16-minute, give or take, hayride. And right before I hit that point, a fucking bug flies in my right eye. Or an ember off the tractor. I'm a little unclear, actually. But something flies into my eye and fucking hurts. Clean shot, eyelashes did nothing. Uh, and I'm like, ow. And also some other words, but like, ow. But the tractor's from the 40s, throttle locks. I can keep my hands on the wheel and drive around with one eye. Honestly, I've done the route enough times. I wasn't that worried about it. My eye stung, but you know, there absolutely wasn't anything I could do about it until the end of the run. So I was like, all right, we're gonna do it. And so I did that whole run with one eye, no problem. I've driven it enough times I could do it without issue. I didn't foresee any problems. I didn't foresee several things, but eye problems. Anyway, uh, so I get to the end of the first run and I radio my supervisor and I'm like, hey, I'm gonna rinse my eye out with my water bottle because something flew into it and it hurts, but I should be fine. Shouldn't be a problem. Uh, and so I start my second run and I get to the end of that and I just have tears streaming down the right side of my face and I'm like, ow, ow, ow. But maybe hypothetically, it could be that whatever flew into my eye hurt it, and now the wind blowing in my eye is the problem. So, like a genius, I went ahead and threw on some like clear safety glasses I had. I'm like, this will help. It helped to make sure that I couldn't see at all. And I hit the end of the third run, still tears streaming down my face, took the glasses off and went, hey, boss, I can't do this. And I felt bad, but I had to like I don't work tickets at night, but I went back up to tickets to help them with some stuff up there for the remainder of the night with one eye closed and just sniffling too, which was great. Like I whatever the eye problem was also causing me to sniffle on the right side because it was connected enough to the sinus to be annoying all night. And it was very funny because I had a friend who got some dust in her eye earlier in the week. And I said to her, I was like, you know, I was feeling sympathy for you when you got that eye infection earlier this week, but this empathy shit really sucks. And so I was there until the thing flew into my eye probably 7:15 ish, 7:15 p.m. And I think at around 11:30, the stabbing pain finally eased up. I rinsed it out. I ran it under a faucet. I put some like eye wash solution in it. And every once in a while it would ease up and I would like 5 blinks later get that same stabbing pain. I'm like, motherfucker. So yeah, I was doing everything with just my left eye that night with a supervisor going, hey, you can go home. And I'm like, yeah, but I want money, so we're doing this with my left eye. Yeah, I It's a funny story, I suppose, from a Schadenfreude perspective, but that shit hurt. Fortunately, I woke up the next day totally fine, able to see, no worries. Um, and that was the other thing was like when it happened, like I could still see when I could get the eye open. It was just trying to keep the eye open and not have my eyelids like slam shut on it to prevent it from hurting in whatever way it was, whether that was bug, ember, whatever. Uh, and so I went ahead and did that. That was my night. And then the next night, I drove around all night without a problem, and it was great. It felt really good to not have random shit flying into my eye. I vote that continues. To be perfectly honest, I'm, let's see, do I have other fun stories from work? Probably not. I feel like that covers most of what I've done this past week. Yeah. Probably that's work covered. Or like personal experiences I've had, I suppose, since the last Socratic Sunday. Had a couple Russian customers today that I got to converse uh, with in Russian for a little bit, which was fun. But oh, we did finally start selling out, um, and that is always fun because we have a finite number of tickets we can sell for the day. And wouldn't you believe it? We sold out like 30 minutes into the day, and all of our tickets we don't sell them like in person, so they were all gone online. But people will come and try and buy them in person, either because they don't read that it's online only, or because they think they can like bully, bribe, wheedle, whatever the human being in front of them into like changing the rules. Which is why I developed particular phrasing when I talked about it. Because I'll hear some other people that I work with be like, "Hey, I'm sorry, we can't sell any more tickets. Like we are sold out. We can't sell any more tickets." And I'll say, the system is locked out of selling tickets because people think if someone in front of them says we can't sell tickets, like we is a group of people, I can convince, bully, bribe, etc., a group of people. But if you say the system, they can't. You can't fight the system. Like everybody knows that. So if I say the system's locked out, people are like, all right, fine. Also, I got the like 30-year-old white male thing where people just kind of listen to me, which is really kind of disturbing and sad to see when my younger supervisors, especially younger female supervisors, will like. I'll watch this process occur where it's like a person comes up, has this conversation with the cashier, frequently younger. The farm I work at hires like a lot of teenagers, and so they won't necessarily know a great phrasing to do it, but like, all right, they definitely look younger, and so people think like, all right, let me get the manager, and so the also relatively young managers will come over, and they'll be like, hey, sorry, we can't do it. And people will just sit there and like try and bully, bribe, etc. them into it, and it's just exhausting. And I'm like, whereas they walk up to me and I go, "Hey, nope, sorry, can't do it." And it's basically, "Hey, we sold out at X time. Uh, Ticket sales online are all done. Sadly, the system is locked out of selling any further tickets. While you're here, you can do X and Y that are not related to the ticket, but unfortunately, you can't go do ticket-related activities." Um, just like I want to give them like what I can, right? Because they've made the drive, but it is sort of wild sometimes to watch them walk up to me and have the same beginning of the conversation and 10 seconds later walk away from me having accepted my answer instead of like being a problem for 20 to 30 minutes. I'm just like, it is interesting. Like, you hear about white male privilege, but watching it at work is fascinating. Um, I don't feel great that that works. Like, I wish that they would take other people seriously too, but I guess if I've got it, use it. Like, use it for good, I guess, is the goal. Acknowledge that it exists for damn sure, but I definitely am frustrated to watch that happen regularly, where people just don't take a lot of my younger coworkers seriously, or think that they can get one over on them, when in point of fact they're generally incredibly professional and know exactly what they're doing. And like young, sure, but like some of these people I've been working with for 4 years. So they were very young when they started, and they've been in leadership since 3 years ago in most or all cases. So it frustrates me to watch them have to deal with people who think that they are less knowledgeable or proficient than they are. And then to come up to me, the guy who is not in leadership at all, kind of intentionally, uh, and just take my word for it when I'm like, hey, sorry, we're sold out. Um, like, I'm glad that they walk away and stop bothering me, because frankly, I can't help them. So having them stand there for the next 10 minutes is like not great. But also, it would be really nice if that same respect were extended to my coworkers, who are at a minimum uh generally more proficient with the overall administrative stuff than I am, and are definitely at least as professional. Several of them probably more. All that to say, God, we're an hour in, and I'm not 100% sure I'm reaching 2 hours. Let's see, sold out. Oh, last night on the tractor. That is actually a story I can tell. So usually the nighttime hayride route is a 14-minute affair, give or take. Sometimes it's, a little longer, a little shorter. And last night, the first go round, the tractor right in front of me started smoking and shut off and could not be restarted, which was great. Because they then had to bring a new tractor in, swap it out, haul the old one out. And unfortunately, where it broke down was like right at the beginning of the route, and in a place that was like between a couple of barriers so that no one could get past them, which meant that we all got to wait, including the customers loaded up in the wagons. And it was great. They were like, hey, Jeremy, what's going on? I'm like, well, the tractor's broke down. They're like, how long will it be? I'm like, they're on their way. uh I think I had a marginally more professional response than that, but it was definitely like, couldn't tell you. They'll be here directly. That was my father's favorite phrase. Anytime he was like, I'll see you soon. I'm like, all right, how long? He's like, I'll be there directly. I'm like, cool. So like 20 minutes, or I'll be there directly. Thanks, Dad. Appreciate it. Yeah. My point, sorry, that I was getting to, was the usually like 14-minute route ended after 30 for my first run through, So we were, of course, behind all night because that was the first of three tractor breakdowns that night. Because the fleet we use is from like the 1940s and shit breaks on occasion. It's definitely. I was at least glad it wasn't my tractor that broke down, but I'm very aware that that whole fleet is sort of constantly on its last legs. Like it is sort of a game of whack-a-mole for maintenance to keep ahead of the issues that arise with machines that old. Now, on the other hand, it's like American engineering from the 1940s, so shit was built solid, but it is definitely sort of shaky as technology goes. But I have extensive practice with finagling those machines. I had one that wouldn't start the other day, and I was like, "Hey, sorry, the tractor's not starting." My boss walked up and punched the starter twice, and he went, "Try it now." It turned on. I was like, "Right, it's from the 40s. Percussive maintenance worked." That was in fact a thing. Really, a friend of mine is playing Grand Theft Auto 5 Enhanced on Steam. This is a guy who usually plays like exclusively real-time strategy games. That's fascinating. I actually want to text him about that because that's so weird to me. Of course, I have not been on my computer much for the past month-ish, so could be a new kick of his. Let's see. Tractor maintenance, tractor problems. Oh, one of the tractors broke down twice last night, which was some combination of amusing and annoying. But it meant that we were there late. Like theoretically, I got off at 11:15. I got out of there at like 12:15, which was fine. But like, don't get me wrong, I was getting paid for the extra time, but I was fucking tired. I don't know. As I was saying, if there's anyone in chat who wants to contribute a topic, discuss something in particular, please do let me know. But I was just telling farm stories from the past couple of weeks because after we wrapped up the news, that was kind of all I had to update with. There really is very little else. Or, of course, anyone can hop in the Discord and join voice chat if they wish to do so. Or regular chat, or keep lurking. All of the above are acceptable. I'm just flagging a little bit, and frankly, running out of material. It's one of those things about working, right? Is like you don't want to discuss the minutia of work. You want to hit the highlights. So most of it's minutia. Like I talk about working tickets, right? Which is the same conversation like a couple thousand times a day. Especially because, and there's not a way to say this without sounding like kind of an asshole, but I am the fastest person in that tickets line. Um, and have been for like 4 years, 4 seasons rather. Um, and it's mostly a question of prioritizing polite efficiency over like welcoming service based on the theory that I am one of the only people, like people who are buying tickets to come spend time on the farm, have something that they want to do. And they can choose or choose not to do a whole bunch of other things. I am the only thing that is obligatory. So my goal is A, make that experience as rapid as possible, and B, ensure that if I'm going to be there all day, I am making the experience as rapid as possible, not only for the person in front of me, but also for every other person in line behind them, because the shorter I can make each individual experience, the shorter I make the overall line experience. And so the people who have their tickets to come do whatever the thing is that they want can get to me and away from me in like 10 to 15 seconds, depending on the number of tickets they have. Whereas I will see other people engage for 30 to 50 seconds, probably. They're like, oh, do you want a sticker? Do you want to? I'm like, I get it. I do. Especially because in the training, they're like, hey, be welcoming. And I'm like, that's cool. But if I give them their tickets and they leave, then everybody else gets cycled in much faster. Nobody's annoyed about waiting in line. So it's one of those things where I recognize why the difference exists, and I understand that there are multiple philosophies on the subject. But I also think that if I were not in there some days, it just wouldn't, like, there would be a huge line because people are trying the, polite greeting, welcoming thing instead of trying to do their absolute best to shorten the experience, which overall is a better experience. Unless you really like stickers, in which case, you know what, I'm not the guy. Like, I guess there are people who, really want to come up to the ticket window and get a sticker. It's fine. I'm glad for them. But the shorter I can make that line, the I'm like, go, go, go. Like I've dialed it in, right? Like it's I go hello, uh, feigning interest, feigning excitement, because the goal is get that polite introduction out of the way because it's polite. It's known as phatic language for those who don't know, not emphatic but phatic, which is basically just the language you don't think about. Where you'll get a lot of people who will come to the U.S. from foreign countries and get very offended when a cashier asks them, "How are you doing today?" Because they consider it a very personal question. Whereas in the US, it's just phatic language. It's just the thing that you ask, not because you give a shit how their day is going, but because societally that's what we do. So that's my hello. And it's, hello, how many tickets for you today? And then they either answer or hold up their phone. And then I scan their phone, which I am fairly good at. I wish that it were a transferable skill, but oh well. No such thing as unskilled labor, I suppose. But do that, rip off the wristbands, go, here are your wristbands, y'all have a good day. And then if they have additional questions, they can ask me. But I'm not going, hey, welcome to the farm. How many times have you been here? Would you like a sticker? Do you want to see the map? It's like, all of those things are things that I'm willing to do for the customer, but only if they ask, because if I can shorten everybody's experience, by and large, most of those things are things that they can find out inside the farm. Like there's a big map just inside. It's great. There's all kinds of signage, but my whole goal is just speed, polite efficiency, because the customers feel like they were greeted politely, and also that their experience that they had to do the obligatory thing went very, very fast. So they feel better about not having to stand in line for an extended period of time. Because if I get my way, they don't. Oh well. Oh, Christ. So I've been sitting on a stool or a tractor for like most of the last 72 hours. My lumbar spine is not enormously fond of that fact. I'm terribly sorry I'm making old man noises, or as some of my coworkers call them, noises. They're very supportive. Uh, anyway, it is, yes, hey, Ro. We very appreciative of the support. Clearly, I need it since all of my bones are falling apart. Uh, yeah. Yeah. See, it's these young people, you know? I hold on. I gotta. Shake my fucking cane. Angry old man noises. Yep, see? Thanks. Thanks, Ro. Grumble, grumble, complain, etc. Oh, I was telling farm stories from like the past couple of weeks. I didn't tell your story about finding out the night before that we needed to package. So the farm that we work on has like effectively like Chuck E. Cheese tokens that are like equivalent to cash, but you can get them on the farm. Yeah. Um, and we found out at 11:30 p.m. when we were closing at midnight that the following day the groups that had like checked in for that were going to be like coming to the farm had reserved a total of 13,000 of these tokens, which now needed to be packaged. And I literally looked at like one of the big three bosses on the farm and I was like, hey, this is not going to get done. Like, if you want me to stay overnight on the clock, I will do that. And just like let me go a little earlier tomorrow. But otherwise, this is not getting done. And she was like, nope, we're good. I'm like, okay. I put my bid in. That's and obviously that shit didn't get done. Uh, and poor Ro here bore the brunt of it on her birthday. So, oh, that one was largely no one's fault that we found out exactly then. But it was one of those things where like that was absolutely not getting done unless someone worked there the night. And it's funny, like I wouldn't have objected to working through the night because like it wasn't intensely mental labor. Like as long as I was physically awake, I could do it. Um, but it's not like working overnight is an insane thing for the farm because they have a couple of things that they do on the farm that are like very popular. And they're so popular, in fact, that they have people like on site 24 hours a day making like two things just to keep up with demand. And so that's when like I was like I threw out the offer to the big boss. I was like I can offer to help with this, but if you don't have someone doing this for the next like 8 hours before you open again tomorrow, it ain't happening. And obviously, it didn't happen. I tried. Oh, that story did coincide with the thing like getting in my eye on Friday night. That was I was only up there to help with that because I couldn't drive the tractor. So did what I could. I think I contributed 40, 50 bags of the 1,223 we needed by the next morning. Definitely not for any other reason. That's true. None at all. But we for sure were like, uh, just getting that information right. Like we were working on a separate thing that needed to get done too, but like we were fucking just like it was a whole evening that we were already doing this other thing, and then to find out that all those tokens needed to be done half an hour before we were supposed to leave, which was actually 15 minutes after I was supposed to leave initially. I was just like, I'm going to do as many as I can before they kick us out because it was going to be bad one way or the other. And I know that we've got another thing coming up that's going to require so many of those tokens that they're just straight up doing like paper versions because we physically don't have the tokens for it. Yeah, it's very exciting. This is part of why I'm not in any of the leadership roles because I'm good at what I do. I scan tickets all day. I have those conversations. I wield the white male privilege to tell people to like leave politely when we're sold out. But I don't have that dumped on me most of the time. You're not. Yeah, I know. That's why I'm insulated from a lot of those problems. I just hop in to help where I can. Like you're clearly having a great night, bro. You've got the like melting face emoji like twice in 4 messages. Everything's going awesome. Seepy, is that what it's called? I don't. Uh, Eepy Sleepy. Oh, I see. I mean, same. I sadly also have some shit I need to do tonight after I wrap up the stream. I need to shower and do some laundry and ideally do some cleaning. Go to bed. See, I could do that, but it's all the way 5 feet over there, so that doesn't seem likely. It's fine. The company's better here. Oh, I forgot to remind you. You ever take that ibuprofen? Stubborn old man. Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, that's what I figured. If you still got it with you, just take it with your. Yep. Okay. Uh huh. Uh huh. I believe you. We're both doing great. I. All right. Actual old man moment. Oh, it's a thumbs up. Okay. I'm like slightly further away from my laptop screen than I would be ordinarily when I'm using it, so you have such a believable face. Yes, for sure. All the time. Old man squint. Yep. Yep. I don't have 2020 vision anymore. It's like pretty good, but it's not 2020, which it used to be. My goal is to make it into my 40s before I need glasses, but we'll see. Yes. Yes. Do I need to shake my cane again? People are being ageist at me. And for the record, I'm only an old man on the internet. By internet standards, I'm an old man. One step out of the grave. Wait. Did I die and come back? Usually it's 1 foot in the grave. If I'm stepping back out of the grave, like, what? You're doing zombies, vampires? What's up? That's very sad. I'm out of cider. We know I don't do well putting my foot in holes. That's true. Counterpoint, that was only 1 foot. You have put two into boots this week and also not done great. Which, by the way, how are you holding up this evening? And you say putting my foot in holes. For the record, it was just the one hole that fucked a whole bunch of stuff up. Oh, sorry. You're bad. To be fair, it was such a weird process of that happening, too, because you were like, oh, I have these bug bites on the back of my ankle. And I'm like, I was like, that is not a normal place for bug bites. And then he showed me, and I was like, that looks like a lot of bug bites if it's bug bites. And shortly after, I was like, yeah, this is a boots problem, not a bugs problem. The fuck, you missed how this came up? You made fun of me putting my foot in a hole. I made fun of you putting your feet in bad boots. Because I only fucked up 1 foot. You fucked up two. Now, much more temporarily, to be fair. But I'm just saying. At least you can still run. You know what? That's fair. To be fair, even before I was crippled, I didn't do much running. I have exercise induced asthma. It really hasn't been a problem for the last 9 years because no exercise, nothing significant anyway. Sprints youthfully around dusty old man. Wait, why am I dusty? Actually, I probably am dusty because I haven't showered from the farm. Go shower. Yeah, I am actually planning to do that basically immediately after I hop off stream. Um, actually, after I okay, so, no order of operations. End stream. Go switch some laundry from the washer into the dryer. Possibly start another load of laundry in the washer, then shower. I have plans. It's just a question of whether or not I can execute them with my current level of awake. Adulty things? Yeah, no shit, right? I did add a few things to the Finch app, by the way, just to remind myself daily. But I realized there are a couple of things that I want to add as like a weekly thing. Like go like walk around the house and find dishes that are dirty and make sure that all of them wind up in the dishwasher just in case anything gets left behind, which doesn't tend to be a problem I have. But every once in a while, like a couple get left out or something. And so I want to. You'll help make tasks? Hey, sure, that sounds good. You're the only reason I'm on that app, so that sounds good. Tuesday project? Yeah, sure. I also need to. Also, it occurred to me, I do need to, like, if we are watching movies from my bed, I there's a hard shell case in there that I have like foam cutouts for my laptop, my microphone, and a couple of other things from when I was planning to do a podcast with a couple of friends. That may or may not still happen, but it was the kind of thing where like I bought it so that if I was transporting a very expensive mic, I was willing to spend some money to protect that mic. But it's been laying next to me in bed for a month and a half. Because standing up, it doesn't take that much space, but also it's like a twin bed. So if we're watching stuff from my bed, that needs to move. Uh, though we could also watch it from my large recliner or the love seat out in the game room that I still need to clean off. You'll help move things. My hope is to have them all moved before Tuesday. Though for obvious reasons, I don't have an enormous amount of time to do that. You'll help clean? No, 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 no. You're not coming over to clean. Come on over to enjoy Monty Python and the Holy Grail. You're a hard worker. I believe you. I know that for a fact. Too hard for your own good sometimes, but yes. You scrub well. All right. Um, but anyway, you'll be here for to see Monty Python and the Holy Grail, and then I don't know. We'll hang out. We'll do something. Isn't it great to have such concrete plans? God, I am sleep. I That's an option, honestly. Like just fall into a coma for recovery purposes. Also, we could actually be unconscious for a while. Yeah, we could actually work on some early stuff for the D&D character we were talking about for research, sure. Uh, but we could actually work on some stuff for that D&D character, depending on if you want to get into anything in depth. Though we do have like at least 3 weeks before that game is going to happen. That requires brain. Yeah, fair. Like I am okay just having a session zero like after the season ends, and we'll get West Winnie and my sister all to make characters. Brain bye bye. Yeah, for sure. Oh hey, look, it's a bot that I need to ban. Done. Account created today? Nope, 2 days ago. Okay. That's... I always wonder about that, right? The bots pop in, they're like, we can sell you viewers. And I'm like, that's cool, but if I'm doing a Socratic Sunday stream, having the number of viewers be higher doesn't actually help the stream have a good conversation. It's kind of the opposite of what I'm looking for. Yeah, the thing that I'm trying mentally to schedule out is like, when the fuck am I gonna go pick up the? We have a gem rear conversation. Is that a typo, or do I not know what the fuck you're talking about? Grart. Okay, I'm great. I see. Are you okay? Is this a stroke? She stopped responding. I'm afraid we've lost her. Typing hard. Yeah, that's fair. Why do you think I'm sitting here talking? To be fair, it is very funny to get a text from you and then just see the little edited thing pop up underneath the message as you like find the typo and fix it. Cause geo smartened IN again. So a transient. Oh, because you smarter than you are. I not necessarily. I don't know that that's true. I have had an extra like 10 years to gather information for sure, but you are clearly exceptionally intelligent. Old man, yeah, thanks. You were just also raised in an environment where people didn't appreciate that, particularly in a young woman. Kind of the opposite, actually. Such great company you are. You are. Why do you think I was in there helping you package those fucking tokens till midnight? Besides, sheer stubbornness. There was a bit of that too. Because I like you. I do like you. Also, I'm kind of a keep my friends close type. Plus, you're very entertaining. You are. You were very funny. We were talking in tickets the other day, and I think it was Stand By Me came on, and you were like, yeah, sorry, this doesn't work for you. I was like, hey, I can stand. You have to make fun of me during, like, Bruce Springsteen's Born to Run. And you looked at me and went, how about Break My Stride? And I was like, all right, that's fucking funny. I enjoyed it. Okay. Uh, how much more do I have in my brain? Tiny curtsy. Very nice. Because I'm thinking that my brain is a little bit running on dregs at this point. That was the theme song yesterday was Jackson Brown's Running on Empty came on in tickets and I was like, "Yep. This is where I am." And then today Dust in the Wind by Kansas came on and it wasn't the existential interpretation that I needed, it was the literal one because there was so much fucking dust and wind today. Ah, literally brought eye protection to work so that I would not get blinded by dust. All right, you know what? I think I am gonna cut the stream short. Uh, we have to work tomorrow. Yes, yes, we do. It's fine. Tuesday's gonna be great. Surely, whatever dental thing you have in the morning is gonna not negatively affect the rest of the day, and we're just gonna have a good time and watch a movie. Possibly movies plural. Possibly one movie and then an extended nap. Yes, yeah. All right. Good talking to you, Ro. I am going to go ahead and hop off here. Thank you to anybody. Thank you to Ro for coming in and joining in the chat. Thank you to anybody who lurked during the stream. Thank you to anybody watching this VOD in the future. Have a good day, night, evening, wherever you are. Stay safe, and goodbye.